This podcast is a work of historical interpretation. While we strive for accuracy, some aspects of history are open to interpretation and debate. Thank you for listening. It started with a dream of open land, fertile valleys, and a better life. But that dream came at a cost, measured not just in miles, but in blood, bone, and broken wheels.
And axles?
Mm-hmm.
And wagon tons?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
From 1841 to 1869, hundreds of thousands of people packed everything they owned into wooden wagons and headed west on one of the most treacherous journeys in American history. They followed a dusty, rutted path across plains, mountains, and rivers. Some made it, many didn't. And I made a copy of one of those covered wagons when I was a child, like at a wood kit, put it together.
Huh.
I mean, I think my parents had it until they moved, like years.
You sure it's not in a box
decades.
somewhere?
It might be. I should ask. I feel like it maybe finally fell apart. But
Then you should have built it better.
I mean, well over a decade, maybe two, like up through college, I remember it being in my room at home. So like, because I was obsessed. And like, I had the American Girl doll Kirsten, like, yeah.
Okay, just go on. This is not Renee Reminisces.
But the Oregon Trail wasn't just a road, it was a battleground of hopes and consequences for those seeking opportunity and for those already living on the land. Today on Time Tellers, we walk that trail again. We'll hear the voices of immigrants, explore the route they took, the rules they followed, and the lives that changed forever, whether by choice or by force.
So grab your gear, circle the wagons, and prepare to see the elephant. Because this isn't just a story of pioneers, it's the story of a nation carving its future mile by mile, mistake by mistake. And I think the elephant's name was Rosie.
This is The Long Way West, Tales from the Oregon Trail.
It almost sounds like a horror movie title.
It does. But like an old Western theme horror story. Anyway.
No, it was very modern.
I meant like taking place out west. Not necessarily like a spaghetti western from the 60s, like out west. Okay. Between the 1830s and 40s, the U.S. was booming, but not evenly. The East Coast was industrializing fast, while farmland in the Midwest was becoming crowded and expensive. Enter a concept we've talked about many times on this show already, manifest destiny. The idea that the United States was destined to expand coast to coast. Politicians, religious leaders, and newspapers encouraged Americans to settle the West, especially Oregon, then jointly occupied with Britain.
And on top of that, the Panic of 1837 left thousands jobless. Farms failed, banks collapsed, and land prices soared. For many, Oregon represented a second chance.
There was also religious motivation. The Second Great Awakening inspired missionary groups to bring Christianity to Native peoples, even if they didn't want it. Mission societies like the American Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions recruited entire families to help with this.
And don't forget the political pressure. President James K. Polk was shouting 54-40 or fight to claim the whole territory. By 1846, the U.S. and Britain settled peacefully. But the race to occupy Oregon was on. Did he ever do anything else?
Right. He's definitely not one of the more well-known presidents.
Did he do anything?
Apparently fought to claim the whole territory, verbally.
Did he do anything really?
Not really, no.
Well,
I mean, he did. We're going to have some Polk enthusiasts like coming at us.
please let us know who you are.
Right, yes. Prove us wrong.
Yeah.
So families...
That's right up there with Chester A. Arthur.
Mm.
And Grover Cleveland.
Yeah, but Cleveland has that, he has that 2-time with somebody in between recognition. And he was the one who had surgery secretly. Nobody knew about.
Some secret, I didn't even know about that. So that's another, that's preview for another episode.
I thought we already talked about him. But maybe that was my YouTube.
I gotta say, I don't remember a Grover Cleveland episode.
Anyways.
Other than I visited his gravesite in Ohio.
Yes, he's one of the 7 presidents from Ohio.
Yeah.
So families packed up everything they had and pointed their wagons west, chasing land, liberty, or just a fresh start.
But why not wagons east?
That would be into the Atlantic Ocean.
But that was one of John Candy's best movies.
Hmm.
It was also his last movie.
The Oregon Trail stretched roughly 2,170 miles from Independence, Missouri, to the Willamette Valley in Oregon. It passed through what is now Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, Idaho, and Oregon.
Some folks even started further east in Pittsburgh or Cincinnati and made their way to jumping-off towns like St. Joseph or Independence, Missouri. These towns became booming centers of trade and outfitting.
From there, pioneers followed the Platte River, crossed the Rockies via South Pass, and then tackled the Blue Mountains before hitting the Columbia River.
And let's hope they started as a banker from Boston. There were side trails, too, like the California Trail that split off after Fort Hall, or the Applegate Trail, which was a rough southern alternative through Oregon. And of course, the Mormon Trail ran nearby as well.
The journey took 4 to 6 months. Families traveled in prairie schooners packed with 600 pounds of flour, 200 pounds of bacon, and cast iron cookware. A rifle or more, wagon grease, and coffee were non-negotiable. Definitely the coffee.
I am not going to make an Oregon Trail reference. That's a
first.
That's a pretty poor loadout for taking off. Wagon trains elected captains and often wrote up codes of conduct. If someone stole, they might be whipped or worse, banished. That was basically a death sentence on the prairie.
Sundays were usually for rest and worship, and everyone, including kids, had jobs. Even with rules, arguments over leadership or trail decisions could get ugly.
I almost said your line.
While most immigrants were white settlers from Ohio, Illinois, or Missouri, they weren't all alike. German and Scandinavian immigrants were among them, and there were others too.
Free black families made the trek, like George Washington Bush, who helped fund a community in present-day Washington state. Some enslaved people were forced to go with their enslavers. Others ran west chasing freedom.
There were also orphans, single men chasing gold or land, and Mormon pioneers heading to Utah. Some women actually found more freedom, wearing trousers, riding horses, and taking on leadership roles.
The scandal.
I know, right? Pants. How dare they?
Yeah, I know. And riding a horse?
Not side saddle either, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I mean...
We're kidding. Continue, Dan.
We? By me, we, you mean you?
100% we are kidding. Continue.
Indigenous guides occasionally helped, like Sacagawea's son, Jean Baptiste. Why do you always do this to me? I'm not good at French.
Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau.
Indigenous guides occasionally helped, like Sacagawea's son, Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau, who worked for fur companies, but trust was a fragile thing.
By 1852, over 10,000 people were on the trail in a single year. It was becoming a river of wagons, and all types of people were wading in. In fact, some of those wagon tracks are still visible today.
I'm upset.
Okay.
Why is it cholera, not dysentery?
You can change it. No, you can't, actually, but you can add to it.
Let's talk danger. The number one killer on the trail? Broken legs.
What?
Or snake bites. Oh, wait, we're talking real life, not the game. The number one killer on the trail was cholera, followed closely by dysentery. It spread fast in contaminated water and could kill in hours.
But that wasn't all. People drowned during river crossings, got crushed by wagon wheels, or suffered fatal burns from campfires. Here we go, Dan. Snake bites were a constant fear.
Wild animals like wolves and bears were threats, but overhunting meant later travelers rarely saw them. Still, stampedes of oxen could destroy a camp in minutes.
One man was dragged to death after his reins got tangled in a runaway team. And prairie lightning storms? Deadly. Some diaries mention people struck while standing in open fields.
Mental health took a toll, too. Some people simply broke under the pressure. There are hints in letters of suicides, deep depression, and emotional collapse.
By some estimates, 1 in 17 immigrants died along the way. That's a staggering toll, but still, thousands thought the risk was worth it. To support all this migration, forts and towns sprung up. Fort Kearny, Fort Laramie, and Fort Boise became supply depots and later permanent settlements.
Places like Fort Bridger started as fur trading posts. The Dallas, once a native fishing ground, turned into a bustling supply hub, and some immigrants stayed behind, opening general stores, blacksmith shops, or ferry services to serve travelers.
But as immigrants pushed west, they trampled sacred native lands and overhunted bison. Some tribes tried to adapt, trading goods and guiding wagons. Others resisted.
And with good reason. Diseases like smallpox, measles, and flu decimated populations. In some cases, 80 to 90% of a tribe could be wiped out within decades.
After the Whitman Massacre in 1847, the U.S. responded with military force. The Cayuse were devastated. Later came the Snake War, the Rogue River War, and many broken treaties. Many broken treaties. Like Walla Walla in 1855, which displaced the Yakima and Umatilla people.
Some tribes, like the Shoshone and the Nez Perce, were willing to work with settlers until repeated betrayals turned even allies into enemies. In the long view, the Oregon Trail wasn't just a route to prosperity, it was a highway of displacement. And I remembered how to pronounce Nez Perce after that episode when we had this argument.
Yes, I was wondering how that was going to go.
And then somebody else in this room had to look up the proper pronunciation of it and then glare at me evilly when I was right.
Is that the ghost? And yet, this very trail helped build the towns and states we know today. A paradox of progress and destruction that we are still reckoning with.
It wasn't just grit that made the trail work. It was the law. The Donation Land Claim Act of 1850 gave white men 320 acres and 640 if they were married.
White men.
Yeah.
Notice that. White men.
And why did they get twice as much land? It's not like they shared it, did they?
No, but I assume that if they were married, that means that there were kids or could be kids that would then need the land if they were boys. Which led to a lot of trail marriages. Some for love, some for land. And before that, the Preemptive Act of 1841 let squatters buy land they had settled. Squatters. Yeah.
The original Occupy movement? What was that for?
I was just agreeing.
Oh, it looks like you flipped me off again.
No, I have not done that at all.
Ever.
Continue.
Never. The Homestead Act of 1862 would later expand this concept, offering land across the West for those willing to live on and improve it. But again, these offers were for white settlers only, not the native people that
were already there.
there.
And again, white men. I mean, maybe a few women snuck by, but probably because their husbands died or fathers died, something like that. Oregon had black exclusion laws that banned African Americans from settling permanently, even if they'd help build those communities. Free black pioneers like George Bush had to move north across the Columbia River to avoid expulsion even farther.
And while Congress passed law after law to support settler claims, they largely ignored native sovereignty. Treaty violations went unpunished, settlers were murdered. Settlers who murdered native people were rarely prosecuted.
The trail was more than a migration. It was an instrument of policy designed to plant the flag and secure the frontier. The Oregon Trail left scars on the land and stories in the stones. At Guernsey, Wyoming, you can still see wagon ruts carved deep into solid rock. That's what I was mentioning earlier.
Travelers etched names into places like Independence Rock, A pioneer Facebook wall. Yeah, well, wait till you read my internet one. What you get to say for that one. You'll find out soon.
Uh-huh.
Some even left behind books. Well, boy, until you found out about them. Passing wagon train libraries from group to group. Popular titles, Shakespeare and farming manuals.
He skipped the Bible, but it was a popular title. People said they'd seen the elephant when they faced something life-changing or overwhelming. Many turned back after seeing it as like a bad omen.
Some even buried loved ones under campfire sites to keep grave robbers and wild animals away. Survival on the trail took ingenuity and sometimes secrecy.
The trail inspired the first federally funded infrastructure out west, like the Pacific Wagon Road Acts of the late 1850s, which laid groundwork for railroads and postal routes.
And yes, we even got a computer game out of it, and a sequel, and a remake, and a remaster. But the real story, it's one of endurance, loss, and transformation, etched across 2,000 miles of American soil.
The Oregon Trail was more than a path west. It was a collision course between ambition and survival, hope and hardship, expansion and erasure.
And it's a reminder that every trail we walk has a cost.
Thanks for listening to Time Tellers. If this story moves you or you want to hear more details about it, leave us a review or share it with a friend. And remember, every step westward left footprints we're still following today. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Jeez.